Welcome to your favorite podcast. It's Love is Black. I'm Harvey.
And I'm Carice.
And how many times?
It's been a few times.
We've had to redo this introduction. This is a great episode, a fantastic interview. Sadly, though, technology's failed us.
Wah, wah.
The audio from our side is wonky.
Yes.
Questionable.
You know what I just thought of? And it's so random. The Price is Right music, like when it's when it's bad. That just happened. Oh, that just brought some light into my day. Hopefully that helped everybody else.
I hope so. This interview is great. You'll enjoy it. These are two wonderful people.
Just disregard some of our audio. I don't know what happened, but whatever.
I don't know.
Whatever. Doesn't take away from all the magic here. So Harvey, can you let us know a little bit more about our wonderful guests today?
All right. Our guests, and by the way, this is from them. So I'm just going to read their introduction from them, then bio, there I say. CYL Entertainment is the online home of Clarence and Yalanda Lewis. It's a place where we share ourselves and our marriage. A marriage which, despite us being chiefly opposites in so many ways, has lasted over a quarter century. We believe in lifelong love, and we invite married couples, long-term partners, and singles to join us as we live our truth, learn from our experiences, and grow into our best selves together. They have a live stream broadcast on Twitch called Heartbeats. They're cool. We like them, and we're going to definitely make our way to their live stream. And, and
but in the meantime and in between time, enjoy the interview. We are so excited to have Clarence and Yalanda Lewis join us. Thank you guys for being here today.
It's our pleasure. Thank you so much for having us. We appreciate you.
We've really been looking forward to this. We love you guys' podcast.
Well, thank you.
Thank you so much. We like that.
I'm super excited. And so let's just jump right in. Where does your Black love story begin?
In college.
In college. We got to figure out who wants to tell the story because it differs based on who is telling the story.
Always does.
You have her version and then you have the truth.
It's gonna be fun. I can tell already.
You have her version and then the truth. So,
all right. Why don't you tell the truth first, and then I'll correct.
Okay, she could tell. I'll tell you the truth first. Okay, so a friend of mine. A friend of mine and I were walking through the quad at school, and we saw her and her girlfriend. And I said, "Hey, man, I think we should push up on them." And he said, yes, because I saw her friend. He said, I saw her friend the other day and I thought she was cute. I said, yes, so let's go talk to them. So we went over there and we started talking to them and we made a date because they lived above me. They lived in the apartment directly above me and they moved in halfway through the semester. They weren't there for the whole year. I said, they just moved in upstairs. This is perfect. Let's talk to them. And we basically said, why don't we come over and cook you guys dinner? That was our suggestion. So I said, so they agreed. We said, we got step practice tonight, but once we finish step practice, we'll come on over. Well, step practice lasted until like 1:30, which a.m. So so we figured we missed them. So as we're walking to my apartment, I see their light on. I said, well, they're definitely still up. So he said, well, maybe we should knock on the door. I don't know. So we end up knocking on the door anyway, but because we didn't think we were going to
from step practice,
we ended up with a half-eaten bag of ho-hos and a soda that was open. So we brought in like, here's dinner. And we came in and that was the beginning of this long-term relationship that we ended up in. See, and that was the truth. See, the truth.
What did you think I was going to say differently?
I don't know. You always say stuff differently. So.
How much different could the story get? Like it wasn't ho-hos, it was Twinkies.
Yes, right. he doesn't always admit that they brought over snacks from 7-Eleven that were open. So that's where I usually have to correct him. But this time he went ahead, he cut me off at the pass and said, you know what? I'm going to tell the truth. And he actually told the truth this time.
I got an even better part of this story that predates that. So I saw her in an office in the student government office.
Yes.
And we were all talking. And I said, hey, I got to go to class. And she said, I got to go to class too. This is before me and my friend had this conversation. And I said, oh, what class are you going to? She said, Marriage and the Family, Sociology 353. That was actually the class. I was like, hey, I'm in that class. And she said, I know you're in that class. I said, I've never seen you in there. She said, that's because you're never there.
That part.
However, when he would come, we went to a PWI. So not a lot of us, and certainly not a lot of Black men. And he would always have something to say. Always have something to say about marriage and the family, as if he had been coming to class every week, and the professor just loved him and loved his input. So that was how I knew that he was in the class.
So then it came time for the exam. And I needed some notes. So I called her up, said, hey, do you mind if I borrow some of your notes, or, we could kind of study for this final together? Now, here is where the story deviates. I just called her and she says,
and I said, so I was newly Greek and he was already Greek, as he said, by the step show practice. And I said, oh, I guess I can share my notes with you because we're both Greek. And he said, how about just because we're both Black?
Okay.
I don't think that's true. I don't remember saying any of that. I don't remember saying any of that.
Take ownership of that.
It's not inaccurate.
I don't remember saying that. I don't think I said either part of those things. Like I just, hey, we're in the same class. Let's borrow some notes. So
you don't think I said what I said?
I don't know. But the irony is the class we were in, it was really titled Marriage and the Family.
Yeah, that's where we really met and had our first interactions. And who knew? It was a prediction.
Who knew?
I want to know though how we got past the ho-hos. Like, where was there anything that led to like, yes, I definitely want to see you again?
So I really enjoyed his company. Even, there was no expectation. Even when they said, we'll bring dinner and we'll cook it, there was no expectation even at that time that was really going to happen. It's just like, oh, let's have a pretense for getting together and spending time. So we just hung out, we let them in. It was 1:30 in the morning. Nobody was looking to eat anything. We joked them about the ho-hos and the open juice, and like, really, this is the best you can do. But we just had, I'm a sucker for a man who makes me laugh, and he had me laughing through the evening.
Just good chemistry.
Yeah, we just kind of hit it off. And, we weren't, a relationship didn't start right at that moment. We didn't like jump into dating at all. But, we just, we were attracted to each other clearly. And it was like, let's hang out some more.
Let's see how this goes. Let's see where this goes. Let's see where this goes. I remember in one of your previous shows, you guys talked about love at first sight.
Oh, I know. Harvey talks about
Harvey talks about his love at first sight. Right.
She's not about that life.
Right.
No. I knew immediately. She's like, no.
That's a tough one.
That's a tough one.
I can't imagine what that feeling is like to know not only that you just want to spend more time with this person, but you want to spend the rest of your life with this person.
Right.
That's a tough pill. I can't even wrap my mind around having that feeling as soon as you see the person.
Neither can I, because I don't know. I need to know a little bit of something, like a little bit of something. Like I could have opened up my mouth and sounded like a complete idiot, and he would have been like, "I'm gonna marry her."
Right, right. But he was convinced
He was
I mean,
convinced.
in his soul.
Yeah.
Right. That's the
Yeah.
thing. He was
That's it.
right.
Yeah.
So, like, where does that come from?
You don't pick who you love, you know?
This is true.
This is
And
true.
that's what it is.
This is
It
true.
happens either, and we deal. I was lucky. You weren't a serial killer. And when
Yes.
That's
She
very
did-
lucky for you. That's very lucky for you.
yes, yes. So
It's working out for him thus far.
yes, yeah.
It's not, I would say it's still early, but it's not early. Y'all got
Yeah.
y'all got some time in now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've had kids. If you have been pregnant and around him and had delivered babies and had young babies clinging to you and you still haven't murdered him, then I think he's safe.
Yes. You know what? That is a very good point. Consider yourself safe.
Wow. Wow. I mean, we have 4 kids, by the way. You've heard that, I'm sure, at this point.
Yeah.
But,
Yes.
yeah. So she's
So
trying.
right. She's
Yeah.
right.
And
You're
she went
in it.
back. She
You're
went back
in
for
it now,
more.
right.
Oh yeah. We got
Yeah,
we
you're
have
in it
2
now.
children, 19 and 22.
Yeah.
Okay.
The 22-year-old has the special needs, so developmentally she's like less than 5.
Preschool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's less than 5.
Yeah.
But you know, the son is away in college, so we're getting half empty nest syndrome because the birds haven't gone very far. But they do a little of this and a little bit of that.
So
So
tell us
we
about. So
jumped
you got.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I was gonna say we've jumped ahead now to the kids. We got a little
We'll come
more
back a little bit. We'll
stuff,
get to the kids. And that would
Okay.
be sure. So you guys, so we get past the class, maybe past that first 1 a.m. kind of get together. What was it like? I imagine after that we're dating, we're seeing each other more. How was the relationship in college and how on? Bumpy? Did it just grow? How was it?
And
I'll say bumpy.
I won't say bumpy because it wasn't bumpy for me.
He was having a great time.
I was having a great time. So I mean, it wasn't bumpy for me.
Probably stressing her out.
Yes, it was a while before we were exclusive. And not that I was looking for exclusivity, but it's kind of a don't ask, don't tell situation.
Don't ask, don't tell.
We were young, we were in college.
Right. I mean,
There's so much about relationships that we did not know how to do well.
Correct.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, when we met, I was 21 and she was 19.
Okay.
So I mean, and at the time you think you're grown. You think you're right, but in retrospect, we didn't know nothing. And we were still learning about just ourselves and
life, how adulting works, all of it.
So the tipping point for me was, so I graduated and started working full time and doing, adulting type of things. And I ended up buying a home. I bought myself my first home at like 23. I bought my first home.
Okay, sir.
And she graduated and left and went to school in North Carolina. So we both, I can't say, I won't say what she thought. I'll tell you what I thought. I figured the distance would break us up. And, there was no reason to break up, but the distance would break us up. And from my standpoint, it didn't. I started to say, I said, there's just nothing out here. What am I running around chasing that I don't already have? I already got it. So I was the person who changed or who initiated the change in the parameters of the relationship.
Yeah, because I went away to school. I was there I knew his family at this point. I was there looking at houses with him when he was buying a house. By this time, obviously the relationship is more serious. We're spending all of our time, all of our weekends together. But we were at each other's throats. Like, we're really good at being friends and just kicking the Willy Bobo, sitting back, chilling, just talking about everything. We enjoy movies, we enjoy music, we can just hang. But the relationship part, we were at, bickering and over so many things all the time. So I went away to school like, okay, we need some space. We need this space, and both of us can figure out. I mean, at that point, who's thinking about, just graduating from college? For us, I didn't think that either of us were thinking about a forever situation. It's just, a little bit longer, a little bit longer, a little bit more, and so I went away kind of thinking that what he was thinking, that, this thing is it's not gonna work. Just to catch you up to where I was. And then even when he changed the parameters of our relationship, when he really started talking about being in love and what do you want out of life and having those kind of future conversations, I'm still a little bit shocked. I do love him, and I do want the forever, but I don't know if I want the forever to start right now.
Right.
Like, and it has nothing to do with him. It's more me. Like, I'm fresh out of school. I came out of a very religious household. My dad was a preacher and a pastor for a while. And so, I hadn't really made a whole lot of decisions on my own. Most of them were, out of, what does the Bible say about X, Y, Z? And someone was interpreting to me what the Bible says, as opposed to me interpreting it for myself. So I was just like fresh, wide-eyed, out in the world, like, ooh, what do I want to do? And
I wasn't.
He was really ready to.
I was
having that space between us. It was like, I want to share this with her. I want to share my free time with her. Just going to work, coming back to his empty house
by myself, coming back to an empty house. I mean, I would tell her I would leave work and wouldn't actually speak another word until I got back to work the next day.
On something, if you didn't call,
and if I didn't call and talk to somebody, if I didn't seek somebody out, and I said, I'm in this house by myself. It's empty. It's lonely. This is not the life that I want, and I don't want to go out and chasing girls in the street. I've had that. I've done that. I don't. It's just this can work. This can work. So she graduates. So a timeline. So she graduates and goes away to school and has to start in the middle of the summer because of the program that she's in. So
August 1995.
Right. She gone. So August she's gone. By December, I am pretty sure that this is where I want to be. So I start ring shopping. I tell my dad that I think this is what I want to do. And for Valentine's Day the next year, I send her a plane ticket. Mm-hmm. I said, let's go out for Valentine's Day. I'm going to send you a plane ticket. Come on up. And I mean, this is a long time ago. I ain't got no kids. Money's a little easier to come by.
Right.
It's not quite like it is now. So I don't have quite the level of responsibility. So,
it's okay. You flew me out.
I did fly. I didn't even realize that until this moment. You have been flew out. Yes. That's true. I flew her out. So, and on the way to the airport, my dad says, stop by my house. I want to see this wedding ring because I know you're going to do it this weekend. I want to see this ring and all these things. And so I do that. And I go directly from his house to the airport to pick her up. And that ring is burning a hole in my pocket. It is burning a hole in my pocket.
He's not good at keeping secrets.
So
the secret ring in the pocket.
All this is pre 9/11, so you could really go in and out of the airports much more freely than you can now. So I walk up to the walkway where she is coming out of the door, and I just drop down to one knee and ask her to marry me right there at the airport, in front of her and this other lady who we don't even know. Just some random lady standing right. And she didn't respond right away.
Was it shock?
Yes, it was absolute shock. I knew we were having the forever conversations, but I didn't know it was gonna happen.
And it was the longest 15 seconds of my life.
My mouth is wide open. I'm just looking around, and I look towards the lady who's staying there. And she's like, "Well, are you gonna answer?"
Looking at me for it.
Why are you looking at me? This man is down on one knee in front of you. And that makes me think of your podcast where you're talking about proposals. And if you propose and she says no or wait or whatever, you know, Harvey, your point of view is that you would never propose again. And I knew that he would never propose again. I knew that. So all the time, I'm just weighing all the possible, you know, I'm in shock that it's happening right now. I know if I say no, or let's wait, or, you know, let me get out of school first, or whatever, you know, the things, that he's going to take that as a no. And not only will he never ask me to marry him again, but the relationship is probably going to just disintegrate after that, even if we want to try to stay together. And so I jump in and say yes. And here we are.
Here we are.
Love won.
Love wins. So was there some time of engagement? Like, I feel like that's time you really could have stretched out to, like, all right, hold on. We'd be engaged all the way through me getting finished for college.
Not with this guy. I mean, he had basically married me right there in the airport.
I mean,
terminal.
There was no going back.
Yes.
Now, the next step was always planning the wedding. You know, the steps that anybody goes through. We're planning the wedding.
And we're living in different states. You know, we're living about 300 miles apart.
And we're trying to plan this wedding.
I'm a full-time student. I was in medical school, of all things, at the time, at a very competitive place. I didn't finish. I ended up dropping out, which is a whole other story. Oh. But I was, you know, so I didn't have the time, energy, certainly not the money to be thinking about a wedding. And this guy was ready to let's just get married. We'll have, you know, food in the backyard. We'll have, you know, family reunion style. And I was just like,
he's trying to get you before you change your mind. He's we wait too long.
You said yeah.
Right. It's just a formality at this point.
It's just a formality.
So we went back and forth on that. You know, he was pretty much going to be footing the bill. My family, you know, I don't come from a family with money, so they weren't going to really be contributing much at all.
But they had a lot to say.
Yes. And like I said, religious, I mean, without saying anything. I don't know that they
never said a word.
Anything, but, you know, I know my family. We, you know, no secular music, no alcohol, not, you know, I've been to plenty of weddings of people in my church growing up. I know exactly what those weddings look like and what my parents would be expecting. And that's not what his family is. You know,
they're gonna want to do the electric slide. I mean, they just go. This is long before the wobble and all those other things. They're gonna want to do the electric slide.
So, we actually decided to just go to the Justice of the Peace. I was home for an extended weekend, or maybe I was home over the summer. I was home over the summer.
You had a 3-week break.
Yes. And I was at his house, of course. And we just kind of
so my words to her were, I'm fine if we do this Justice of the Peace thing 100%. I'm 100% fine with it. Are you going to be okay with it? Right. Because, you know, the wedding is really a very bride-centric event. So you're going to have to be okay with this moving forward. And But I'm perfectly fine with it. I mean, the justice of the peace thing, I think it was $30 for the marriage license and $35 for the man to come from behind the counter and say y'all are husband and wife. So $65, I got that. I can cover that.
Painful.
If it was 70, it wouldn't work out. But 65 is good.
Cash.
Exactly, right? Lunch money. So
I can cover that.
So yeah, and I didn't have a problem with it because I knew we would not have a good meeting of the minds on the wedding. And it was not important to either of us, what the day looked like. We were much more invested in the actual marriage. What happens after that? It just the day my sister was there sucking her thumb. I still remember. I have, I'm the eldest of 4 girls, and she's 14 years younger than me. So she was a little kid. And then
we needed her friend.
We needed a witness
because she was babysitting her.
Yeah, my sister was kind of staying with us while
she was babysitting her
the summer with us.
So we brought a friend with us and said, we just need you to watch her while we do this.
And she had to be a witness as well. She had dual role. So yeah. Oh, and we didn't tell our parents. So my thing was, let's just get married. I knew my parents already were, praying every night, deep in prayer over the fact that I was sleeping. I was staying with him. We were living basically together, we were shacking up, as they used to say. And so I knew that they wouldn't have a problem with us just deciding. And actually, my mom came to visit us. It was, it's like 3 days. You get the license, and then there's a 3-day period before you can actually get married. And my mom came to visit us in that time frame. And she was sitting on the sofa. She looked at me. She said, "You know what? You guys should just get married." And for her, that just relieves her of all the stress of having her sinful daughter living in sin. And she loved him as well. So it just turned out that I got confirmation at that moment that she would be perfectly fine with it. Who wasn't so fine with it was
my dad. My
parents.
dad, I said, he's not gonna be happy that we doing this.
Up and get married and not tell him.
So I said, while at the courthouse, I said, I gotta call him. He doesn't have to be here. We don't have to make a big production out of it, but I have to call him
before I
tell him I'm doing this. And it's not that I'm getting his approval or I'm seeking any of those type of things. It's just that's the kind of relationship that we have. So, and I had seen him that day, and I saw him because I went to work and left work early to go get married. And I saw him because he worked right across the street from where I was working. Different company, but he worked right across the street. So we called him from the courthouse.
There's no way he could not tell him.
And she knows him. Yeah. And she knows.
Yeah, I was like, okay, you're right. Make your call.
Make your call. So we made the calls, and then everybody was good. And then the next day, everybody came over to the house and just, celebrated the fact that we had done this. No one gave us any issue or was bitter or angry or upset. Everybody was just pleased.
Over the years,
he softened.
He had to soften a bit. He was a little.
He's the emotional one in my family. So
the sentimental one, most definitely. Also, because before when he first proposed to me or started talking about forever, I had said, well, you know how I grew up. It's very important to me that my husband has a relationship with God. And, he was
in the streets.
Yeah.
Wasn't quite part of the streets because I'm working, the streets got a connotation.
Yes, but no, he was a good guy. He had all the pieces. It was just, what are we going to go to church every Sunday? Or, you know, how are we going to raise our kids? These are the things I'm thinking. And so I'm like, we gotta, you know, be equally yoked. So I'm gonna need you to start investigating. And his dad was like, wait a minute, what are you saying about my son? You know, he didn't say these things to me, he was saying it to Clarence. You know, my son is a good guy. I've raised him right. You know, his mom is Baptist, Clarence's mom is Baptist, and his dad was Catholic. But you know, over the years, their family kind of just chose the Baptist religion route. I don't know.
I'm not sure what to call it, but yes, you're right.
System. So
Right.
that's, you know, he felt like he had raised his son in a God-fearing home. And how dare I come in and say, oh, but you didn't do this thing, that, and the other? Because I was raised Pentecostal, apostolic. So we had some really strict rules, you know, one way to heaven kind of thing. So I had already taken him through that rigmarole of, you're going to have to get yourself together spiritually before you can be with me. And so then for me to with, you know, not allow his father to have that big moment of seeing his son get married, I was just,
because we're both the oldest.
These things. Yeah,
we're both the first kids.
He's named after his dad, and like we were saying, he's a very sentimental guy, and family and traditions are extremely important to him. And here I was just saying, you know, this tradition is out. This tradition is out. Did have a little bit to get over time.
I would concur.
And he shared that with me since. He didn't share it with me at the time. He treated me like family from the beginning. But yeah.
So now there we are. Now we're married.
There we are. We're married, and he moves down to North Carolina for us to start our life together.
Wow. Okay. So what does marriage do for your relationship? Does it change it in any way, shape, or form?
It changes it in every way.
Every way, yeah.
In every way. It changes it in every way. So I'm going to put this one on her though. And
Okay.
the first piece was not recognizing that your decisions impact somebody else, really impact somebody else.
Right.
And, you know, so early on in our marriage, that was probably the biggest issue that we had from her. I understood it, but not the same way. You know, I did have my right. things that I had to.
He had his just certain rules of how life works.
Right. And I had to get past that.
What do you mean life doesn't work this way?
Right.
You
there's
know,
no
you, this is not how you.
It's not rigid.
Yeah.
It's not rigid. And I had to, that was my thing that I had to get over. And she had to get over that her decisions affect other people. So, right. And, you know, fortunately, we didn't have any children at that moment. Not that I knock anybody who does. It's just, it's hard enough trying to figure out what it is to be two people. Mm-hmm. But when you add, I got to also take care of these children as well. They tend to take priority and you tend to push yourself to the back. Mm-hmm. And you don't even get that time to work through some of the things that you need to work through as a couple.
And we needed to work through some things as a couple. I mean, just out of the sheer fact that we were so young, we didn't have a long dating history, you know, not between each other, but with other people. You know, you learn some things about yourself when you are dating other people. So as adults, we only dated each other.
We got no concept of what it is to be an adult.
Out there,
single adult, like,
just, you know, being in different situations with different types of people and learning about you and what you want out of another person and all those things. So we were just kind of practicing on each other and learning all of that through our relationship.
But one of the most valuable parts was, and I didn't know it was valuable at the time, was me moving down to North Carolina to be with her, put 300 miles between us and everybody else that we knew.
Mhm.
So it forced us to be reliant on one another. You know, there is no, I'm so angry with you, I'm going to go to my mom's house. There was
Right.
none of
Or
that.
my best friend's house, or none of that.
So we had some tough periods in there, but we learned how to be together. And I won't say we learned how to not have arguments, but we learned how to get through those things and come through on the other side.
Right.
and
repair.
Right. That's a great
hurting
point.
each other, or after total misunderstandings, how to get back on the same page again. We had to do it.
So, and I think it became more evident to me when we came back. So after we finished school, we came back to Maryland, which is where we live. We did some other things first, but eventually we worked our way back to Maryland, and our relationship didn't allow other people to have influence on it. And I didn't realize how much that would be the case. No one could come to me and say things
about
her or about how we should be. I'm like, we got this. I don't need your input on that. If I ask you a question, then that's when I get your input. That's fine. But for the most part, we understand how this works. And I didn't realize that
would be such a strength.
Will be the move that created that strength. That's a good point. That's a good way to put it.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
Marriage. I like that. I just see when you describe, I think that little part you mentioned, marriage is a big word, but it's different for absolutely every couple. This works. That works. In the end, the only people in the marriage are you two. Everybody else can talk, but when push comes to shove, it's just, what are we going to do to make this work? What are we willing to deal with? And the reason we came up with this podcast, one of the reasons, was Black love needs to be represented positively.
Yeah.
And marriage isn't just sunshine and rainbows and all that. It's got, shenanigans. Stuff goes down.
Stuff goes down. Stuff goes down.
Stick together, man. And we the same thing. For us, that first year, I mean, she was pregnant. I knocked her up, and and she had kids already. So we started with 2 kids, and then had another one. And that first year, we were living together. That's a whole new. We did all of that together. So the fact you guys had the benefit of just growing up with just you two, and we had to work at it.
Right.
So different circumstances will make things, but your story is beautiful.
And it doesn't, but similar outcome, right?
It doesn't knock anybody's process. It
was what we needed, and it was so helpful to us to have it. Yeah. And beautiful. I love it. No, you're so right about Black love being represented in its fullness. It's not just you're the sexiest person I ever met, and all I want to do is every moment I see you. We've seen that representation so much. Like, we're just this hot for each other, and we can't keep our hands off each other. But you
see the other representation.
Or you see the other aspect. He's cheating on you all the time, and you're putting up with it, or you're a terrible wife, and he's putting up with it. There's a fullness, and there's variety, and there's so much, so many stories to tell, so many good stories. Yes,
that can be.
You guys, you're on to something with this podcast. You just might be on to something, right?
Okay, so winding down on your love story, right? Your love story will continue on and on and on, and we'll never get the entirety of it. But what impact does bringing children now into the marriage have on your relationship?
Lord have mercy.
It was almost like starting over.
Yeah.
It was almost like starting over.
Yeah. Like, who is this guy? Who is this gal? Like, you're not the person that, it just changed everything. I mean, you already got the whole thing about, culture shock, in that, you're waking up all times of the day or night, and everything is kind of turned upside down by this new human that needs you for every single thing to live. But then as time went on, we were seeing that, because we have a niece who is just a month younger than our daughter. And we're seeing that she's doing things and, learning things and growing in certain ways that ours is not. And, she had a nickname of being high maintenance was her little nickname, as we were trying to figure out what is going on. So, just, he wanted to let her cry it out. I couldn't stand to let her cry it out. Or, and there's no manual, and it's just us trying to convince each other that what the one person wants to do is the right thing to do. And we've always been opposites on just about everything. Except music. But it's so many ways that we're just complete opposites from each other. I'm an introvert. He's super extroverted, and it just goes on from there. He's very gregarious and verbose, and I'm just like one word answer. Well, obviously I've changed a bit, but at least in the beginning,
great.
And so we were just like that with our kids. All this, even as they're growing up, one of us will think this is the right path to take, and the other is thinking the exact opposite. So we, like he said, it was like starting all over again, figuring out how we're going to be a team again. We have finally figured it out. We're a team. We're doing, we're thinking of each other, and we know each other and what the other expects or wants.
And you get all new players. You get these new players that come in.
Shuffle the board. Reshuffle the deck, all of those things.
Got these new players that come into the team. But the kids have also been growthful. We've been able to grow because of the kids. Lots of new things and lots of experiences. And now that they're older, we are getting to the point where they think we might know what we're talking about. We might. They still some question.
Right.
But
our son, he's coming around.
I get a call every now and then that says, Dad, what do you think about this? And that lets me know.
That's the moment.
That's very nice. That maybe we were doing something right all along, and he does trust our judgment, and he's gonna come to us. That's real nice.
Your story is wonderful. Every time we hear a Black couple just love, it makes me happy. You guys, 25 years, right? At least
20.
right?
It'd be 27 years this summer.
Yeah.
Goodness,
it was 25 when we started writing.
Mm-hmm.
We celebrated our 25th anniversary writing together, and by 26 we had that finished, and now we're heading on to 27. Yeah.
Before we get to our last question, I have to ask, what's it like writing a book with your spouse?
It's interesting.
It depends on your approach. Let's start there. So our approach in the book that we wrote was not joint writing. So the words on each chapter is written by an individual.
Right.
So I write one chapter, she wrote another chapter. So the voice is all that person's chapter. So the first part you got to get through is getting the words out of your own head onto paper.
Mm-hmm.
The second part is she reads what I wrote.
Right.
And edits it. So you pour out your soul, but sometimes you might say some things or say it in a way that she might not like.
Or vice versa.
But when I read her stuff, and I was like, dang, was I like this? Was I this bad? I'm thinking to myself, but I don't want to change. We decided up front that we would not change
The substance
of
of
what-
what the other person wrote.
So,
Yeah.
you know, I get my feelings together. She gets her feelings together. We make a few
So
edits.
just edit for typographical, grammatical, let's keep the style of the person and everything in place.
And then we move on, and then we send it to a professional. Well, we send it to my mom first, who was our first line editor, and then we send it to a professional editor for them to go through it and cobble it together
right.
into
make
what
it
it is
into
that
a
we
book.
end up pushing out.
Yeah.
But it was certainly an exercise.
A lot of writing on our own. I think that helped a lot. And you'll see, we do talk about the writing of the book, and we talk about the process for us, and just how we had already learned through past experiences that the best way for us to do something, quote unquote, together is to break it into pieces. Each of us work on the thing that we have the strength to do, and then bring it together. Because if we just try to sit down together and say, okay, chapter 1, you just would have
We'd
been
still be
chaos.
right.
Yes,
We'd still be we
right.
probably wouldn't be right at all. We would have thrown that thing in the trash. I'm done with this.
You had to stop writing the book.
Gosh, well, I'm excited. I can't wait to read it. The book is called The Rhythm of Love, 25 Things That 25 Years of Marriage Taught Us. I'm so excited to read the copy that, you graciously sent us. But can you tell us where our listeners might be able to procure this book?
Yes, they can find it on Amazon, Audible, Barnes and Noble, other in ebook format. And so, there's lots of smaller places that people are, where they typically get their ebook, or where they typically get their audiobook. It'll likely be there. So it's available all over. Yeah.
All platforms.
Yes.
All platforms. But if you want a signed copy,
you gotta
order directly from us.
Or if you just want to support Black authors directly, come to our website.
Order directly from us, because if you go through those other intermediaries, everybody gets a cut. Everybody gets a cut.
Yes.
All right. So we have a last question we asked for couples. I saw something today, so I'm going to ask something a little bit different.
Okay.
So here's the question. So here's what it is. I saw this, and it's on TikTok. And the quote that I saw is, a good marriage is one where each partner secretly suspects they got the better deal. So I'd like each of you to take a moment and tell us why you got the better deal with this marriage.
That's an
awesome question.
That's an awesome question. I can go first.
Okay.
I think that I got the better deal because I was a very sheltered person, and Clarence has brought the world to my doorstep, literally. The first person to take me to the ocean. I had been to beaches before, but the first person to take me to the ocean was this guy. Aww. The first person, we've slept overnight in a hotel made of ice. We have, lived in Switzerland. We've traveled, we've put our foot, in different countries all over Europe and North Africa. So that we've written a book, and I feel like he stretches me. He's a dreamer. He's a visionary, and he just pulls me right along with him. He has so much confidence in what I can do. Regardless of whatever his latest idea is, let's zip line and rappel down waterfalls and ride donkeys up the side of a mountain together. And, I'm just right there with him. And so that's why I think I got the better part of the deal, this deal?
Yeah. I think I got the better part of the deal because I think she could have gotten all those things without me. I think she could have gotten all those things without me on her own. I believe in her really heavily of what she's capable of doing. What she gave me was sanding off the rough edges. You know, I can be abrasive. I can be curt at times. I can be short. I can be all of those things, not intentionally, not with malice, but she has softened those edges for me for my entire life. I mean, well, feels like my entire life, but it's been 27 years.
Yeah.
She's been softening those edges for me and helping me grow as a man, as a dad, as a son, because she'll tell me, you shouldn't talk to your dad like that. You and your dad, or you and your mom, or so she is my ever sounding board. She is the person who can pull me back from any edge or any precipice that I'm on and settle my feet. So that's where I'm lucky, because I don't know if I would have that, but she settles me and keeps me grounded a lot more than I think I would without her.
I love your Black love.
Oh, makes me happy.
It really does.
Oh,
It really does.
it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Okay, if people want more of this, how can they follow you? How can they keep up with you? What are you guys into? Just give us everything.
Okay, so our online presence is easy. CYL Entertainment.com. If you go there, actually we have a link tree. But if you go there, you're able to get to all of our socials. We're on IG, we're on Facebook and Twitter. But to see us regularly, we stream I stream by myself on Thursdays, although she comes in to dance with me every now and then. But and then we stream together on Sunday nights at 9:00. The channel is twitch.tv/DJ C Sharp. It's what we've been doing now for the better part of 2.5 years.
Yeah, we started during the pandemic.
And legitimately, it is the catalyst for the book. It is the reason the book even exists, is because of that stream.
Yeah. And just the engagement that we have on the stream with our viewers and our family. A lot of them are family. They come every week. And we just he's playing music and we're just chatting about relationships, about what's going on in the world, what are you watching on TV, all those things. So it's like we have folks to our home every Sunday night. Yeah.
And I mean, these are folks from everywhere.
Yeah.
Germany, Buenos Aires, Argentina. Those are the farther places, but California, Florida, Missouri, New York, Detroit. I mean, just we have lots of people. Most of these people we've never met in person. We only know them from their attendance coming to our shows. So we've never met them in person. But a few of them we have met in person. And it's a very interesting conversation because you walk into a room and they know who you are, but you've never seen them before.
Right.
So
they know you, they know your voice, your laugh, what makes you laugh, so many things that we share.
Right.
I mean, I had the feeling in reverse when we came on with you. It's like, oh yeah, I know those voices. I know those.
Right. It's a very
I know you.
It's a very interesting feeling.
It is.
But the minute they say who they are and you associate that face with that name that you see on the screen, then all of those conversations come back and all of that interactions come back. I mean, and then it's all love after that. Right. It's all love after that.
Yeah. So please, people, come to our stream on Sunday night. We think you'll enjoy it. And we'd be ecstatic to have you.
I know, we love it.
Oh yeah,
We'll hop on.
definitely.
It's totally free. All you gotta do is make a user account. Don't cost you nothing.
I love it. I have enjoyed so much talking with you guys, listening to your love story, just feeling the energy. There, you can just feel it between the two of you. There is that love there. I feel like it kind of, I don't know, kind of comes through.
Exactly. You can tell.
Thank you
guys
so much. Thank you
We-
so
we've
much.
been looking forward to this.
Yes, very much so.
Since we
So
agreed.
right.
And
Now
I
I'm
mean,
gonna find
it
you
has-
guys on Sunday.
yes, please
This
do.
is gonna be so cool. All right, we're at the end, but I have to ask one question because
Okay.
music is my thing. What's your song?
Wow. I think we have multiple songs. Our artist is
Sade
Sade.
is our
Oh,
artist.
yes.
So
Yes.
we have what we really have is an album.
Yeah.
The Love Deluxe album is our album.
album. Yes.
So we listened to that beginning of our relationship, and we have listened to it continually throughout. So the Love Deluxe album from Sade is our
Yeah.
album. Would you agree?
We owe her. We owe her for bringing us together.
Okay.
And keeping us together.
And she's on.
Yes.
She right there on the
Oh,
wall.
yeah.
But
she's hanging on the wall.
when you come on Sunday, if you come on Sunday, just say, "Is Sade there?" And I'll show you where she is. She's on the wall because she's there.
That is
But
amazing.
yeah, that's our
That's our
That's our-
project.
yeah,
Yeah, that's our album.
I love it.
soundtrack. Yeah.
Made
But we
history.
love to listen to all
I'm
kinds.
Sade. That's I've seen
You're
her
welcome to
live.
come anytime. And
Yes, we've seen her live too.
Okay, good.
Yeah, and it's funny because we have some folks who come to our stream who are not Sade fans. We still allow them to come. We still allow them to interact. Because we're trying to grow them. We're trying to grow their musical taste because we understand it's not their fault. It's not their fault. They really haven't been exposed at the level that they could have and should have by this time. So we
yes.
always welcome more
New
Sade
Sade
fans
fans.
into the fold. Automatically win if you come
My
in on a
goodness.
Sade.
My goodness. My
We
goodness.
have to get in fights with folks about Sade's music.
We had a Sade Anthony Hamilton bake off one time on the stream because one of the guys who comes
Bake
regularly, he doesn't like Sade, but he liked
loves
Anthony Hamilton. I was like, how could you? I'm not sure how you could not like Sade and like Anthony Hamilton. So I said, I don't think Anthony Hamilton got enough music to even really be in the same category with Sade, and that sparked it all.
Yeah.
It was on after that.
Even though we can both agree, we can all agree they're not in the same category, but somehow we did a versus with Sade.
Anthony Hamilton.
You made it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, thank you guys for being with us. We greatly appreciate you sharing your story and your love on
Thank you.
this platform.
Thank you so much for having us.
Oh,
It's
it
been
was
awesome.
an honor. As usual, Black love is a beautiful thing to see, to appreciate, to experience, to be in the presence of. So I'm so glad. And Sunday night, knock these kids out. I want to little night cool in there. We don't have to do that. But we'll get,
9 to 11. We on from 9 to 11.
they'll be knocked out by then. But I definitely want to experience you guys. But
you have some
this is so cool. This is
Well, Mr. Laguerre, I think we have come to the conclusion that love is rhythmic.
Yes.
We like rhythmic. They suggested that word.
Well, I
They
didn't
do.
see love is rhythmic.
Okay. Oh,
I love it.
Love is many things.
but this good love is Black.